Hello, this is Chris Parker with the Business Simplicity podcast. And I had a conversation with Andre Buren, a very experienced CTO. And we talked about how that role can really take a toll on your life, how that role will change probably fundamentally with the inclusion of more and more AI. And finally, we wrapped up with some really just pieces of advice for people who are seeking such a role. So, hey, Andre, why do you think this would be really valuable for people to listen to?
Yeah, I'm happy to share my own life lessons. After working hard and playing hard as well, that there is also time in life to really look back and really connect the dots. And I really hope to give away a little bit of the things I learned along the way. And I am sure you can take your things for your own benefit.
The Business Simplicity Podcast, where we learn about strategies and tactics to succeed through simplicity, with your host, Chris Parker.
And welcome back to the Business Simplicity Podcast. This is Chris Parker, and I'm having a conversation with Andre Buren, and he works in the CTO space as an advisor, and also as a supervisory board member. In his career, he has been the CTO for Just Eat Takeaway, and I think still currently he's a advisory board member for the Netherlands Lottery, the Dutch lottery. And a couple of years back, him and I worked on a project together with a energy commodity trading company, helping them refine their technology strategy and relook at their technology organization, and even help them select and continue to coach the final CTO of that organization. So Andre and I have held hands as we've been helping an organization take a next step up. And we're going to have I'm sure it's always a great conversation with Andre, and he's working on his book called CTO Online: Guidance and Inspiration for the Next Tech Leadership. However, I don't know, I think we're going to unpack that, because I think there's a whole lot of humanity going on under that next tech leadership title. So Andre, thank you for joining. And my opening question is always, what is it that you're doing? What does Andre Buren do?
At the moment, actually, I'm doing not so much. I'm waiting for my final operation, and that happens to happen on Thursday. So I'm anxiously awaiting for that. It's also summertime in my head, but yes, I'm using it now. This immobility that I have awaiting the operation for writing my book. And I think I'm definitely crossing the 80% line. So there is no way to go then going forward now and to finish this thing off. And probably that coincides with the rehabilitation. That will take probably a couple of weeks. And then let's have a play outside again. I'm looking forward to.
And we're going to dive into the book, but before that, after you've had an amazing career, what's the motivation for taking the time to write the book? I guess beyond being sort of confined in a chair until your operation. What's the deeper motivation, the deep intent of this?
Freedom. And that sounds like a very generic desire, but what I discovered after working indeed 25 years in various jobs, starting first in the Big Five advisory KPMG industry, and did all kinds of jobs, but it also took a toll on my life, and I realized that going back was not my way to go. I found that out the hard way, that it was time to really set my own rules in life. And in doing so, being your own advisor, you need to promote yourself. You need to make yourself a little bit known in the rest of the CTO circle. So that's why I felt this was a good moment in my life to accumulate those lessons learned in those 25 plus years, And when you start on this journey, then you realize that there is more and more to share. And then it's actually also a nice ride, because you also get a little bit more proud of what you all came across and what you dealt with, and all the mistakes you made and all the the wrong ways you took, but also how you learned from that. So there is a lot to share, and there's actually a nice feeling behind doing that, and that also helped me in life. So it was just a perfect moment in time, and I'm happy to share it soon. Sure.
And recently, you were kind enough to join as an inspirational speaker for an event I was structuring. And there's a couple of different podcast episodes coming about that. And that was with Destiny Engage in their Master Your Destiny program. And Ihab Tag is he's the AI product manager. And just a couple of days ago, I recorded an episode specifically describing his journey through that whole program and that whole intervention. And he really highlighted the fact that having some inspirational speakers that had some depth of experience was truly a gift. And that's what we were trying to do, actually, is to say, as a startup scale up, they've gone from 40 to 80 people in less than a year, having some tremendous challenges, stress, a lot of people behaving in their shadow zone. Yep. We also want to kind of like, well, say, this is normal for this kind of situation, and don't let it stay normal. Maybe there's a, because of the amount of work, but please don't make this your life, because you will literally go insane. And the book, I'm curious, who did you write the book for? Because I'm looking at the table of contents that you shared with me, and we pulled some of the topics out of here, but there's such an amazing compendium of tactics, of strategies, of wisdom. Who are you writing this for? Like, who's the perfect?
It is actually everything that I came across. And first, of course, my profession was quite a niche. I was IT auditor. That was my first profession. So that is just one of two paragraphs in the book. But the more you enhance in your own career, and I made the big jump going from the more corporate roles that I was doing, even in San Francisco, to the real line profession as my first online CTO job in 2010, when I came back to Holland. I was so enormously shocked in a very positive way how much you need to know. And the whole agile movement was new, and we were still thinking the old way from the 2000s, how to deal with those crazy IT projects. And so yeah, it was a very crazy time. And when you learn, or when you look back, you really have to you really see that when it all unfolds, that there were a lot of things that really were crossing your desk, and that was also what is a little bit missing, I think, in this profession. I went first to the Amazon shop and looked for books on this topic. All the things you need to know as a CTO for an online way to fast growing business in a very competitive, overcrowded online market space. And there are a few, but they are so narrow. They are all from the hard core part of the IT profession. And to be honest, they were not a very good read. So I also saw that there's a big gap, that this kind type of a more top-down view start with with you need to know all. You don't know even how much you need to know, because the market you're in doesn't know it itself so much. So you need to be looking as far as you can from a top-down view, and you need to know from everything just a bit to get you going deeper. But to have that kind of a wide first view in order to see all the challenges and really giving the right value to address in the right order, first you need to know the whole general playing field first to a certain high middle level. And that gap I want to try to fill in with this book. Yeah, that also resulted in quite an we are almost hitting the 500 pages now, but in the most compressed way. So I try to be as lean and mean, cutting out as much waste of the wording, because it's just meant to be just your first playing field of very generic, high level knowledge I think you should have when dealing with all these crazy topics on a daily basis, from a more top-down view rather than the more bottom-up view that you see in the current books out there.
500 pages. That's quite a book.
Yeah, so it is very broad. It starts with the real high-end visionary stuff, up to also the office politics, how to deal with very difficult people that you definitely come across with in your role as a CTO, because the best IT people are sometimes not the most normal people from a human behavior, so to say. So it's a very broad range, but it's not meant to be to read from A to Z, but just to find your way easily, and hope you will it gives you a nice kickstart in this great.
And looking at it, there's probably less than a third of it is actually technology oriented. And I'm going to pull into one. It's towards the end in the whole section on future, called Life 2.0. So I'm curious, what have you written in a CTO online, how to be a CTO in the next tech, leadership space? And there is a section called Life 2.0. What does that mean?
That is actually a more of a parallel to my own life, as I want to share my own trajectory that I had to go through, and actually when I think about it, this is my dream job, and a dream job that I think I can do for the rest of my life. I'm now 52 years old. Just to have some kind of footprint in this market by this book. So this book can also set me a little bit free to keep on doing what I really love to do, and I really hope that also people can find their own interest or not. But this is really something I want to share, and that's the life 2.0 for me is I think it would be a crazy trajectory looking back to my life if you really work hard and really play hard as much as you can, starting from your 25 after your education, but also have time in your life when you can look a little bit back to that whole time that you learned a lot of things, and doing so. So then you really start to use the knowledge for making things better for yourself, for the organization you work with, and maybe also a little bit of impact in the world you want to give. You can do that even more when you live out all this crazy gamification that we do nowadays that we call working. It's also a lot of things that is just for the game itself, and that is okay. That's all how we live. That's how the world is organized, and you should play and don't try to fight that kind of things. But it's also time to maybe go one level higher and think, okay, we've done that, and now it's time to really do the things that I learned and bring it to a more broader range than just this working employment that I'm doing now. So that's the whole movement of the so-called gig economy, and that's also how Chris and I met through an organization that envisioned this new type of working, this work 2.0 with the life 2.0 style. That you are just your own boss, you have your crown assets, your knowledge, and it's your way to manifest and to consult that to the world on your own terms. And that is life 2.0, freedom, that you can manifest your talents, but now on your own terms. And I think we are living in a perfect time, and AI and all the online technology is a perfect storm to make that happen. I want to encourage people to do that. And I write one chapter in my book how I do that, why I came to my pivotal point, and how I saw that as a beginning when I have to stop working in those type of hours per week. Then I saw that as a very big loss, and I was not very proud, and my ego really hurt. And but in the end, when you get through that process, and Life 2.0 is really there for you, then that's something you really want to go to. So I indeed spent one of the final chapters some guidance, some inspiration for my lessons learned that maybe people can benefit from.
Great. Well, let me dive into that, because there's so much in here. I would say to people, if you go, you can find this already, or at least you can sign up for the book at gible.com, gible.com. And if you click on the or /CTO at least, and there's a little button there, order the book, and you can put your email in there and get notified when it's coming out. I know for me, I haven't talked about this much on the podcast yet, but I got a career coach a number of months ago, and my question was to her was looking at the next 10 or 20 years of my career, like what is the single thing I can focus on? Because typically I'm doing so much of everything. As anyone who knows me, I'm doing a lot of everything. And that whole career coaching process totally failed to achieve that goal of having a single narrative for my career. But I also learned a lot. I realized, well, that's actually okay. And so while I consider myself also in this sort of fractional gig economy space, I also give myself the freedom that, for the right opportunity, I'd be willing to step into an organization on my own terms, with my own preconditions, in order to do something. And if those terms and preconditions are violated, then I definitely hold the right to exit. Because basically we're asking people for their life energy, that their time, their life energy to contribute to something. And quite frankly, if you're going to dick around with it, you don't deserve people's life energy. And then I also love doing, coaching. I've had some coaching clients and advisory, and then also some leadership development stuff. And for me, the combination of all that makes, I guess that'll adds up to my superpower, meaning taking a very human approach, very much like you. I think that's why we connect on a lot of things. Staying curious, staying abreast of the technology. I'll never be a deep technologist.
No,
but stay curious enough, because leadership for me
isn't broad. Stay very broad. It's very hard to find IT managerial people that really keep their eyes wide open. They all have their own traits to go focus on one particular area, and that's good. But there should also be somebody that keeps it all open, because it goes from every corner nowadays. And
I'd almost say that
openness.
The technology is developing at such an incredible pace. Maybe the only constant is the people factor. So if you look at the people dimension, maybe I'm sort of making this up as I go. If you look at the people dimension, and if you can create that healthy, psychologically safe space for people to connect to each other, achieve their ambitions, then the technologies will sort of solve themselves in a way. I mean, if you hire incredible people that have a strong intent, they'll figure it out.
Now, you know what? It's easy. I have even a darker scenario from the old of the more hardcore technicians out there, because indeed, I'm playing a lot with the AI now, and to be honest, programmers should be very worried in a positive way, I hope. But the normal programming will not happen anymore by those same humans in less than 5 years' time. So I think the CTO of the future will definitely have people around him to work for him. and to do crazy things, but you need to go up in the psyche game because, or the more low psyche will all be automated for us. So the CTO of the future is much more of a human touch accelerator. Need to have much more psycho toolkit to his possession to get the best out of people. So maybe we are up to a CTO crisis because all the current trajectory in the education are more the hardcore style. Well, maybe the CTO of the future needs to have a whole other base in its background. But I don't know how this whole AI revolution will play out for this profession. But for sure, the IT department of the future looks completely different than now. So also managerial and leadership will change radically. How it will change, I don't know, but it may be so that the future CTO is much more often a psychologist than a hardcore programmer.
Well, I think
go so far, but it could be.
In this AI revolution that we're in, or evolution, I think there's a few certainties. One, it will impact our lives, and the other certainty is I don't think we can even imagine how. Because it's
but a lot will change, and
yeah,
and yes, what I truly think, and I didn't figure it out, and the world didn't figure it out. The same people now can do in a couple of years can do have outputs 10 times more times. So how much output can we have as a world? I think there is only one way to go. That is, you need less people for the same economic output. So what else are those people going to do? Is a big question, and that's way too broad to really talk about in this topic. But I urge people, be the one with AI that will still do the profession, because there will not be a space for all of us. It will be some kind of survival of the fittest if you want to stay in your line, but you need to re-educate yourself with AI the soonest now to be.
Well, I guess it really depends on if you want to stay in your line, because in the past there were people who were physically doing the to transferring the phone calls, and there were people who used to type letters for other people, and all of that is basically evaporated, and
it is.
People have moved on to other roles that, again, I don't know if we can really. I do have a question, because it's something in our past that I didn't realize before. But you said you started your career as an auditor.
Yeah.
And as a CIO and CTO myself, I come from which I considered was a kind of an unusual place. From an accounting background. And in my accounting background, I also was never a practicing auditor, but very well trained on audit. And what I found with audit and accounting, I'm not sure which kind of audit you were doing, was you had to be curious and ask the unusual questions, and you had to understand the whole of an organization to see how the risks flowed and how the
top-down perspective.
It was a for me it was an atypical start of what ended up as a more technical career, or career in a technical world. How do you feel that your audit beginnings set you up for success or failure? I don't know.
Oh my God, this is.
Can you connect dots back to that?
Yeah, and this is such a beautiful question, because this is, to be honest, it's very unusual to go from being an IT auditor to end up like the CTO for a public listed company. But I already knew from the beginning, because during the university years, I was not a very deep scientific programmer. I didn't really like the really hardcore stuff. I was more of this economic, top-down looking towards the same business issues. So I was a little bit more on the soft, broad, top-down side, like more like a student economics. And in that sense, it was very usual there to start your career as being the programmer, and that kind of trajectory was really not so appealing to me. So IT auditing was a bit of a different niche. You were really already going to very highly ranked people when you were 25, and you were really talking about a very broad IT managerial leadership topics, because it was all about the high risk in service of the financial audit. So it was, you really started, you kickstarted your career with this top-down view towards the organizations and the IT in it. And that was great. I learned so much. And a normal audit lasts 4 to 6 weeks. So you can do many, you come to a lot of business cases per year. And it's such a rich kitchen, so to say, to get all these high-end knowledge. But then to make the move, the world is not waiting for IT auditors to make the jump from a knowledge profession to a line management profession. It's not an easy move, and I needed to be very creative. And by a lucky shot, I found an online company in technology distress. It was called Vakantieveiling at that time, very hot and happening brand, and it was really going through the roof, and technology was the bottleneck 1 to 10. So I came in a hell's kitchen, but I loved the dynamics, and it brought out the best in me at that time of my life. It also brought out the worst in me. Some people really can testify to that, but it was also crazily fun. And yeah, but then that I could only do that so crazily in my own style, probably because all the business micro cases that I came already across when I was very young as an IT auditor, working at such a big corporate accounting firm. Yeah, that was very good. But yeah, so I would recommend it from your learnings to keep a very broad perspective to the IT world. But good luck by going from a knowledge role to a line management role. That's not an easy move. The world is not open for that. I experienced that. You have to be lucky, and I was lucky to found a company just on the right time, and they gave me a chance to prove myself. Made all the mistakes, but in the end, I came better, and yeah.
Well, I think there's always a huge element of luck in any career projection. It's almost kind of silly how often we think about our career plan, because forget it. But I don't know, I think there's some parallels, and maybe there's some wisdom in there as well, because trained in accountancy and also financial audit, knowing I never wanted to be an auditor or an accountant, like you never wanted to be a developer per se.
I also didn't want to be an IT auditor too long, or after 7 years I was done. It's too limited. Then it becomes also some bit of a trick instead of an art. Yeah.
Well, what I jumped into was ERP implementation, so enterprise resource planning. Like it was the Dutch company Buren, which is now part of Infosys, and what an amazing, just similar to your story, being able to implement software, holistic software for an entire company, and early in your career, and see how so many companies are run. And you have to understand, I was doing the financial modules, and so basically you had to see how the money flowed through every aspect of the business, and then roll up to the general ledger, so the reporting and the dashboarding could be there. Wow, what an education. So similar to your audit experience. And then and then I love what you said is jump into a company in distress, because that's oftentimes when an organization is finally looking for something new, because they have hit that same problem with that same hammer so many times, and they finally have said, this isn't going to work. We need a new level of thought, and that's the time to jump into a space and learn some more. So it's
it is really. Now I think there's more than luck. I'm really that much holistically that you can also um, play a little bit with the luck factor, but still you have to be at the right time at the right place, and you have to believe. And when you believe in certain things, then you can play a little bit with luck in your own benefit. But still, you need to learn your lessons first. You feel I'm really would promote as a life coach to other people in my field. Work hard, play hard, learn a lot of things, feel forward and feel fast, and always consider it just a game. And then maybe one day, you can you will be open for your own life to 2.0 lifestyle. And I I think it's a very beautiful time we live in, with all the technology tooling we have now to our disposal to really have a lifestyle that we want to have. And so I would definitely encourage all people to make maximum use of that.
And I think it maybe as my last question, and then maybe we can kick it around a little bit, is your book is in essence your gift of your wisdom and experiences and failures. And if you were speaking to people who are aspiring to be a CTO and a next level, next generation, next tech CTO, what would you advise? Like if you wanted to wrap that all up and say, hey, if you are considering to be a true technology leader of tomorrow, please carry this with you.
I would say have some core values and have them very hard, solid, and keep them close to you. And because in the end, I think the CTO is still a very much of an underdeveloped role in the company, especially on other more board levels. It's but the CTO will be the chief creating officer of any business in the future. So it will be. We still need to work on what this new role is, but in the end, IT is the product. So it will be the most creating, leading role in the new world. So think about that. If you can resonate with that, because we need other people that just want to expand their programming hobby. We need people that want to create and want to make impact and believe in something. So I would really encourage to expand a circle of people that want to consider this crazy profession, and really start early with, do you resonate with having impact in things you want to, and if you have that as a core value, then just jump in, work hard, but also play hard to keep you going and make all the mistakes you can make. But if you stay close to your core reason why you started it all, you will be able to not to lose yourself in the all craziness. And that is what I want to tell people. What drives you, and if drives you that you want to really be courageous and really be bold to see the beauty of innovation and what it can do for the good, then I would say bring it in, and really bring it into practice, because there's still a lot of evangelists needed to really appreciate the CTO portfolio much more than it does now in a general boardroom. There is still a lot of people who need to step up there and break the ice. And please join me in that journey. Yep.
I guess what I would add from my perspective is, and it depends on the origin of the person. So if the person's coming from a deep technical mastery position, as opposed to, and I'm seeing it more and more, coming from a more generalist position, I see the deep technical masters struggling more as CTOs, because
Yeah.
it shifts from a content game to a collaboration game or a connective game. And a CTO, in my view, is, I guess you can call it an enabler, meaning is creating the space for content masters to perform at their very best. Of course, you have to have an awareness of what they're doing. You can't be a completely ignorant of what's happening. But
No.
and that can be a hard change for people to, quote unquote, take their fingers off the keyboard, meaning someone else is going to be doing the work often. And and oftentimes those people might not even be in your organization. Maybe these are ecosystem partners and you're relying on them through some sort of interface. And it's, so you're collaborating not only in your own building, but also across an entire industry. And that can take a next level of mindset. And then I would come back, you mentioned values. The way I mentioned that is deep connection to self, because for me, the only way to be that truly caring, connective leader, you've got to be rock solid with yourself, and to know what your boundaries are, and to know what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and to be able, and this is hard, I think, oftentimes for technology people to speak to other humans, particularly in high tension leadership forums where you need to sometimes fight your corner. You need to do that from a position of inner strength. So
yeah, and I really you make a very good point here. I really think it's not all, but it will much be more often a human game, and the pressure on IT will only become more. I think it will not be getting easier to be honest. I think AI will also at first will be also seen from the more cost saving angles. So yeah, we have first. I think the CTOs for the years ahead will become a little bit defensive. There will be a lot of over expectations coming up towards the CTO that is still not fully valued, and I think the CTOs still have a hard time to really articulate the complexity that they have to deal with. It's a very complex job because there are so many factors in play, not fully appreciated by the other board members. So, yeah, I feel with people now in these times that their future looks very, very bright. I think AI will bring a lot of crazy new beneficial stuff to the game, so we can focus more on the things we even love more in the future. But before that, we will get through some kind of storm. So I hope you all keep the spirit alive. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to. Somebody will.
Good.
So Andre Buren, you can find him on LinkedIn at Andre Buren, and Gibble, his own agency, gible.com. And if you go /CTO, you'll find more about the book with the table of contents, and you can sign up to get an email when that's available, I believe later this year. I think you got a great feel for who Andre is, what his background is. So he does coaching, advisory, also sit on supervisory boards, working with CTOs, and honestly, so do I. But you can see that Andre and I are very different and also synergistic, if you will. So in one time, both him and I actually did a sort of consulting project together. So I would urge you, if you're interested in bringing some of the wisdom of Andre into your organization, check him out at gible.com, gible.com. I, for one, am really delighted to get a hold of this book when it's ready.
Thank you for listening. Visit ebullient.com to download the Simple Business Design Framework. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite player.